Dominican University Office of Mission and Ministry, this is Soul Stories. The stories you are about to hear were culled from an original series of Interfaith Ministry Better Together coffee houses at Dominican University. This gathering of storytellers share the ways in which they incorporate faith as a lived experience, calling on their encounters of the sacred in themselves and in each other. Come, listen as they share their stories of personal and spiritual awakenings that have transformed the teller's everyday life. The current episode is a recording of stories at a special event in the Martin Recital Hall, but which were originally shared at an Interfaith Better Together coffee house that focused on the theme of I Am Migration. The second of the Soul Stories events this year. We had one at Caritas Veritas, and we'll have another 2 next semester. This is only our second event, so we're really pleased to have people show up. We're still figuring all of this out, and really glad that we have the 3 storytellers. It's possible the 4th storyteller will make it later tonight. She's got very busy family things that are very important to take care of, which she will tell us about if she makes it here to tell her story. My name is Warren Green. I'm part of the committee that put together the Soul Stories project. There are 2 other people here from the original committee. One of the original idea people behind this, Provost Dean Carlson. I'm still not used to saying that. Hi. And Vice Jeff, yeah, and Claire, who's the Vice President of Mission Ministry. Is that the right order? Is it Ministry of Mission? Right? Who is Claire? 2 wonderful people that helped bring this all together. And Felice, whose last name I do not know how to pronounce. There we go, Felice. We'll go by first names tonight. Who was unable to attend tonight. And many others on the committee that we should thank for these events starting to happen. And we hope that they steamroll and get bigger and bigger over the next year and years to come. You're all invited to the coffee houses that are the seeds for this, and to participate going forward. Tonight we have 3 storytellers. Jose, of course, if I forget your name now, Aurelie, there, yay, and Ms. Jackson, Kayla Jackson. Will all be telling us stories in different versions of what it means for them to have migration as part of their lives. The first storyteller will be Aurelie Aragon, and I will let her tell you the story.
Yay. So, as it was mentioned, my name is Aurelie Aragon, and I am currently a junior here, and hopefully we'll graduate next year. Woo woo. But so I want to go ahead and start my migration story with the beginning of why my family decided to migrate here. So I was 6 years old when my mom decided to migrate from Mexico to the United States. My mom was a single mom. She had 3 of us. She had myself, my older sister Blanca, and then my eldest, Diana. And she was by herself, and in Mexico there was not a lot of opportunities for her to financially take care of us 3. So she made the biggest decision of her life and decided to migrate to the United States so she could support us 3. I was too young to travel, so I was unable to travel. And my eldest, Diana, wanted to stay with me. So only my older sister Blanca came to the United States with my mom. And I didn't understand why she left or why not. I was 6 years old. I didn't know anything. But my mom wanted a different opportunity for us, and she came to America, the land of opportunity. And then the plan was for her to just stay in the United States for a year and then go back to Mexico to be with my sister and I, my older sister and I. However, that plan did not go as the way she wanted to, so she decided to stay a bit longer in the United States. And she wanted me and my older sister to come to her because she missed us. And my grandma told me this. I don't remember this because I was too young, and I just don't remember anything about my childhood anymore. But my grandma told me that when she told me that I was coming to the United States, I started crying and I made a big fuss about it. And ever since then, my family has considered me the drama queen, but I don't believe that. And I was crying. I made a big fuss about it. I was like, I don't want to go. And my older sister, she was not coming with because she wanted to stay in Mexico and she didn't want to leave her friends. She didn't want to leave the life that she had in Mexico. So she was not going to be coming. And she was my mom during that 1 year. She was my mom and I did not want to leave her. So I was just crying and crying. However, I came to the United States against my free will. But I didn't know what the journey meant. And the first memory I ever have of my childhood was seeing my mom. And since I hadn't seen her in a year, the first time I saw her, I didn't know who she was. I was like, you're a stranger. Who are you? I don't know who you are. You're not my mom. And I could see the pain in my mom's eyes because she was like heartbroken that I didn't recognize her. However, she immediately embraced me and hugged me. And at that moment, I was still like, I don't know who you are, but okay, I'll hug you back. It didn't become clear till later on that she was actually my mom and that I loved her a lot. But it was till the moment where she gave me this awful, awful present ever. She gave me this hot pink, bright pants that I really hated. And they were awful. I wish I had a picture of you to show you so you could see how bad they were. But like she made me try them on and she made me wear them throughout like my whole year that I was there, for the time they fitted. And they were huge. So they fit me for like 3 more years, I think, which is unfortunate for me. But yeah, at that moment, and then I was like telling her, like a few years later, I was like, I don't want to wear them anymore, Mom. And she was like, no, you have to wear them. I still haven't had the chance to tell my mom, no, I'm not going to wear anything you buy me. But, it's another story. So I came to the United States. I started first grade, I believe. And I didn't know English. My English was kind of bad. In the first school I attended, there was a translator for me. She was like a friend, I guess. I don't remember her anymore. But my mom did not like her because she translated everything for me. So I didn't have a chance to learn English. So then my mom moved me to a different school, which is the best school ever, Benton. And that's where I learned how to speak English. That's where I learned how to communicate, and that's where I made friends. But then the school closed down, and I had to move again. So I attended different schools, and then finally I ended up at St. Charles Bryan Middle School, in which I was there from 3rd grade to 8th grade. So I was there a long time. So I grew up with the same people, and I made lots of friends there. And then a lot of them actually went to high school with me. So then I went to high school, and it was a big milestone for me because my mom had never graduated from elementary school. And then once I graduated from high school, it was like a huge accomplishment for me because I graduated in high school, and something my mom never had the chance to. She didn't have the opportunity because she was too busy taking care of us. And so then I graduated high school, and then I came to Dominican. And applying to college was really hard just because not a lot of people knew about how to handle my status or how to even help me financially. And I'm really thankful that Dominican University had opened its doors for me and allowed me to come in and provide me the aid I needed and the help I needed, since no one in my family had ever gone to college. Actually, my older sister, Blanca, she moved back to Mexico. And she moved back to Mexico because she couldn't at that time attend college. And then she graduated from Mexico. She was the first one in my whole family, my whole extended family, to ever graduate from college. But it was a really proud moment for my family and I. But for me, I was really depressed because I was not able to attend her ceremony. And that's one of the things that has affected my life, is not being able to have a relationship with my family in Mexico. I haven't seen my grandma in 12 years, and so it's been really hard to handle all that. But it's going good. Hopefully in 1.5 years, I will be able to graduate, and I hope to be a doctor after college. But yeah, that's basically it. Thank you.
Thank you. Our second storyteller is Kayla. Yeah, because we can't count anymore, right? You're number 3, which makes you now. Kayla has a different twist on migration, and I don't want to give away her story by generalizing it in the introduction. So, Kayla Jackson.
Hello, friends. So I'm Kayla. I'm a final year grad student in Dominican social work program. And my migration story is a little different. It's less about crossing physical borders and more about navigating psychological ones. So I'm from the south side of Chicago. I'm from West Inglewood, and I really never ventured out of my neighborhood until it was time to think about high school. But my parents decided that it would be important for us to go to school, my siblings and I, to go to school outside of our community. And I mean, I was excited. I was excited because I was going to go to a good school. I was going to be in a good area. And at that time, in my mind, that was synonymous with white. But I was also excited because I felt like I was finally going to be with like-minded people, people who listen to Fall Out Boy and All American Rejects and ate sushi and watched anime, all things that a lot of my peers at my grade school thought were very weird in general, but especially for a black girl. And so 8th grade Kayla looked forward to high school with a lot of anticipation and hope as to what that had in store. And I assumed assimilating into this new space would be super easy. I went to Mother Macaulay, which is an all-girls Catholic high school, and it was a good experience. It wasn't the typical high school experience as you would expect. It was an all-girls school, it was all-girls Catholic school, not the things that I saw on TV, like people getting their lunch money stolen or getting stuffed in the lockers or anything like that. And there was definitely a huge sense of sisterhood at my school. And, I found my niche. I turned into the ultimate theater nerd. I was in all the productions, never had a lead role, but I was in there though. I was off on the side doing things, and I found my group of friends and everything like that. But I guess that I was there, but there was always sort of a space, a gap that kept me from being fully integrated. And although I look back at my school with a lot of pride and my experiences with a lot of happiness, I also can remember a lot of times where I felt very, very unhappy. And it wasn't until probably my second or third year at Dominican that I really was able to put words to that experience and understand why I was unhappy or what contributed to that. And I think that it had a lot to do with that thing that I called the gap. And the way that I understood it was that, simply put, that I was different. And who I was and where I came from, I held a lot of guilt with that, I guess. Who I was and where I was from was a secret. It was a huge secret. No one knew. I never uttered the words Inglewood. No one was supposed to know. No one was supposed to know that I came from a neighborhood that looked different from Evergreen Park and Beverly. They weren't supposed to know that there were vacant lots and dilapidated houses. No one was supposed to know that there was a hold on my account all the time because we couldn't pay tuition. No one was supposed to know that I was scraping change together just to get the dress down day. And I just had a lot of shame associated with where I was from and what that meant. And I guess I was afraid of what that would do, that people would see me differently, I guess. And so I had a lot of secrecy with that, and I didn't realize that on my journey to this new space that was the baggage that I was carrying with me. It wasn't until Dominican that I started to unpack that, and I was just like, well, yeah, my neighborhood does look different, and in class I learned about why that is, and that just because my situation or like my neighborhood was a little less than ideal, that didn't make me less. And it wasn't associated with my worth, and just not internalizing all of that extra stuff that I've really struggled with. And so I got to Dominican, took all these classes, and I started to become really proud. I was like, always like, yeah, I'm from Inglewood. You never heard about it. You heard about it on the news, but that's not the full story. I'm gonna tell you the whole thing. And I had a lot of pride with it. I was like, this is it. Like, I'm ready. Like, I'm ready to go home. I told myself that I was going to go home. I was going to get involved, and that this was a big part of my identity. And I didn't get the reunion that I was expecting. There was kind of like again, another gap, another space. I was there, but I wasn't really able to fully integrate myself back home. And it had a lot to do with the time that I spent away at school and the time that I spent away in the other spaces that weren't home. I came home and, they'd be like, oh, she's that college girl. Like she thinks she's better than us, or she's so different. She does these things. She's bringing all these different things. And I thought that I'd be embraced with open arms, and I wasn't. And it was the time that I'd spent away in a different space made it difficult for me to come back. And I found myself in like this kind of borderland where I was over here and now I want to come back over here, but I can't. And I was just like stuck in the middle. And I almost wanted to denounce the time that I spent away, the time that I was at Dominican, because I was like, oh, well, that's not important. What's important is that, like, I'm here. This is my community. This is me. And it was just kind of a lonely space where I was in between, because it was kind of hard to articulate and make sense of. But then I realized what a great privilege I have to be able to enter into both of those spaces and to move back and forth and go back and forth. And I think I gained a lot of freedom when I realized that it didn't have to be either or, and that the time that I spent in both of those places have so much to do with my identity and who I am and what I do. And I guess I'm still making sense of it, but I don't know. Yeah, that's about it.
Thanks, Kayla. I don't do very much in this project except try to coordinate a little bit, which is not my strong suit, and then to try to listen to the stories and help the storytellers tell more of their stories, which they always do more than I ask and challenge. And it blows me away to be part of this with the students. I feel outside of the nerve-wracking part of it, it's a great honor to work with you guys. The final story of the night is from Jose, because you can all count to 3. You knew he was next, right? And again, a completely different kind of migration story. Welcome, Jose.
Thank you. I'm also not used to a microphone, so hopefully it all works out. Well, my migration story is mostly about me moving to different places and trying to adapt to these places and seeing the difference between these places and how they affect me and my surrounding and my point of view of the world, of my world. Well, just to give a little bit of background information, I was born in California, and I lived there till I was 6 years old. And I was 6 years old, I moved to Mexico, to a city called Guadalajara, Jalisco. So when I got there, the only language I knew was English. So it's kind of funny because I consider my first language English, but I know more Spanish right now. But so it's a tricky question for me when they ask me that. So I didn't know. I was 6 years old. I didn't know much about like this place. I was just excited about being at the place my parents were from. So I didn't know much Spanish, and I didn't think much of it. I was just like, okay, I'm going to school. Let's see how it goes. And most of the kids there were I feel like they treated me like a celebrity. Like they were always like, I guess foreign people weren't they weren't used to people that weren't from there, so they would constantly ask me like, how do you say this in English, or how do you say this in English and stuff. So it was, it was fun in a way, but it also had other downsides, because people would also like kind of make fun of how I would speak, because I had an accent in Spanish, or I wouldn't know how to communicate effectively, or I would stutter and stuff like that. So they were always like, oh, Jose, because there's always multiple Jose's, and I'm not the only one. And they're like, oh, the Jose that speaks weird. And, oh, yeah, that one. And that was me. So it was always like that. But again, I didn't think of it as bully. I think of it as, I don't know, like, I thought it was funny, to be honest, sometimes. So I would just laugh along and just, I just kind of lived it. So I was there for my education. All my school I did there, and I never quite felt that I fit in there. I always felt like I was a little bit different than all my classmates in Mexico. Like whenever they would tell a joke, I wouldn't get it because I didn't have the background information or like the knowledge of Mexico's culture to get it. Or like everybody, I don't know how, but they were all professional soccer players, all my classmates, and I just sucked. I wasn't good at it. And I don't know. And I tried, so I never felt like I quite fit in there. But I was there. I never thought about like going back to the United States. I kind of knew I was going to move back, but never actually like planned it. I was like, okay, yeah, later, probably in college. And then, so all these years, till I went to high school, I kind of got used to the culture, the traditions, and everything that was, part of Mexico. And, they kind of grew to be part of me. It wasn't something I tried to learn. It was more like, they were making this culture, they were welcoming me, if that makes sense. They were trying to, I don't know, like people would tell me, oh, let's go over here and during the holidays. And I'm like, why? Because it's a tradition. And it's like, oh, okay. And then that would happen like year after year until it was part of me. Like I felt like I needed to go to these places or celebrate, Day of the Dead or like whatever. Traditions happen. I was into it then. So it kind of grew to be a part of me. When I got to high school, I finished my junior year of high school in Mexico, and it was the summer, and my family were having some economic issues, financial issues, and so all of my siblings, we all had jobs, and we all had this. We all knew that the time to go back to the United States was going to come. We have a lot of family in the United States, and they were all telling us like, why are you guys in Mexico? Like they don't help you guys there. It's like, it's harder. All of you guys are working, and look, you guys are still like not doing so well. So why don't you guys come over here? You get any job and you can still live well. And we're like, yeah, well, I don't know. And then we were all born in the United States, so it kind of made sense that we should move to the United States. And it was something I wanted to too. So, but I didn't. Again, maybe I don't think much of stuff, but I just knew that I wanted to go too. I knew that there had to be a change. So so my sister graduated from high school, and I was still missing 1 year, and it was the summer, so it kind of felt like the right time for us to move, so my sister could start college in the United States here, and I could finish high school here. So to be honest, it all passed by really fast. I don't remember much. I just remembered that one day I quit my job, and then I notified school that I wasn't going to be there anymore, and I did like what I had to do, and then the next week or couple of days, I was on a flight to the U.S. And then we wanted to go to California because that's where our family is originally from, but we didn't have anybody, we didn't know anybody from there anymore. We didn't have connections or anything, so we just had like an aunt that lived in Las Vegas. So we were like, okay, we can move to Las Vegas, and then from there, make the transition a little bit easier to California. So that's what we did. First, the timing wasn't exactly right. We still had like our pets and like our like all our stuff, like our house and everything in Mexico. So we couldn't just leave it there or abandon it. So my mom and everybody stayed there. So it was just my sister and I who moved to Las Vegas. I started school there, and the first couple of days I was there, I thought we like messed up. I thought it was the wrong choice. I was like, what am I doing here? Why am I just want to go back to Mexico. Like I can still do it. I was like really trying to form a plan. I'm like, I can still go to the school, tell them I was just kidding or something. And then like still continue class. The semester I'm still on time. And then like, it sounds funny right now, but back then I was freaking out. And then, but it was just it was all in my mind. Like I couldn't go back. It was too late, and the change was already moving forward. So I kind of knew it back then, like deep down I knew it was gonna, like I just had to continue. And I had some really like kind of not personal issues, but like things I noticed. In Guadalajara, I don't know if you guys have heard Guadalajara, but it's one of the biggest cities in Mexico. So what I tend to notice, it's really materialistic. So there's a lot of rich people there, and there's there's a lot of people with money. And in Las Vegas, in my perspective, there were even more materialistic, like more money. It's like really. There's a lot, the buildings, like everything is nice there. Even the poorest like neighborhood, it's really nice. And what I like to, something I mention sometimes is that I go to the vending machines, and there's the change that comes out. There was always change there, and I would always like just go to the vending machines and grab the money from there, because from my point of view, I was the only one without money, and everybody else was. From my point of view, I don't even know if they consider themselves rich, or the other kids, but I thought everybody was rich, and I was the only one without money, or like how to move on, or without a plan for their future. So I kind of felt left out again. I was more like a person that like had everything figured out, kind of control. I like to keep in mind my future. Like in Mexico, I had goals, I have dreams and stuff. And moving to the United States kind of like got, like it just destroyed all of that. So I didn't know what else was left, and I didn't know what was going to happen, because I knew I wasn't staying in Las Vegas. And then, so anyway, we couldn't stay there anymore. So by the end of that semester, my sister and we moved to Indiana, East Chicago. And so East Chicago is a little bit of a not so, there's not a lot of money there. So it was I started school right there my spring semester, and it was a dramatic, a really an abrupt change. I want to say from Las Vegas, from like these really like a lot of rich people and nice buildings and everything looks nice, to East Chicago, where it's kind of, I don't know if you guys have been, and no offense, but it's kind of depressing. So there wasn't. I mean, I guess I never checked the vending machines and stuff, but there were other things there. Like you had to be careful. There were. I don't know. You just had to be careful. There were always fights, and then it was like a dramatic change from one social class to another. But it helped me because I graduated on time in high school, and I had to take like more classes and do like some other stuff. But eventually I did it, and then I feel like well, we didn't want to continue there. I wanted to like go on to college and stuff, but I still didn't know what to do. So everybody around me, like my cousins and like my aunts and uncles, they were just like helping me like to see if I could like look for a job or something. And I was like, no, like I came here to study. I'm not here to I'm here to work, but like I want to finish college first because that's why I'm here. And then, so they were like, no, you should be, I can help you out. Like, I know somebody that probably needs a truck driver, so you could be perfect for that. And I was like, what? Like, I'm not going to be a truck driver. And then, I mean, again, no offense, but that's not like, I didn't came here to drive trucks all day. So we moved we knew there wasn't a lot of things there, and we met back with our family was there with us. So we moved to Chicago, and we have another aunt that lives in Chicago. That's kind of the advantage of having like aunts scattered all over the place. And so we moved with them, with my aunt, and then we started at a local community college. And from there we would, I would just take the general classes I needed, because I still didn't know what to do with my life or what, or where I was heading to, really. I still felt like I didn't belong. I would talk to like other Hispanics people or Hispanics, and it would still be different. Like, it's not the same, like, thing. I'm not saying it's different, but it's just, it's a little, I don't know, it's complicated. Because I didn't feel like it's a different Hispanic culture here than Hispanic culture in Mexico. So I wasn't fitting in either way, like with Hispanics or with non-Hispanics, so I kind of felt like I didn't like belong anywhere anymore. And I was like, yeah, but I can't go back to Mexico because that would mean a step going back. And I kind of want to go further. I just want to move forward. So yeah, I would, we were still at this college, and we finished, and then my sister transferred to a different school, and then I'm transferred to Dominican, and I realized that I wanted to make movies, and so far it's going. I don't know. I'm still studying. I don't have anything figured out yet, but I can still see like my future a little clearer. I still have an idea of where I'm going. It's a lot better than how it used to be. And it's funny because the first time I went back to Mexico on vacation, I met with my high school friends, and I was telling them all this stuff, like, oh, what else happened here? I was really excited to go back to Mexico. I felt like there was a disconnection with me in Mexico, and going back it was like going back home in a way. So I was talking to I wanted to talk to everybody, even the people I didn't talk to before. And it's like, remember me? I was that kid. And they're like, no. And so it was, I didn't care. I was just happy to talk to anybody there. So I would tell them like, oh, what else happened? Like what exactly happened when I left? And what's going on now here? And then they're like, dude, it's the same here. Like, nothing changed. Like, this story's still here. We're still alive. Like, they didn't change anything. And I was like, wow. So this whole changed. Like, I felt like my world changed, or my point of view at least changed greatly. And everybody, like, they were different in a way. Like, I saw everybody different, and they still had the same mentality, the the same behavior and stuff. They even tell me like I changed. I don't even know how I was back then, to be honest, because they told me like, oh, you used to be more funny, or more like you used to you had more guts and stuff like that. I was like what is that supposed to mean? Like I don't have guts right now. But so my point of view changed along the way, and it was really tough, and I had like a lot of complications with the language barrier, and like, because I couldn't speak any English. Well, I could understand it, but somehow my mind had a block where I couldn't like speak it fluently, or I would just say like nonsense or something. Like the first thing that came into my mind, I would just say it as long as it's English. I kind of felt like it was like when I was younger, it was easier to speak in English in Mexico because nobody knew English, so I could mess up and nobody would even notice. They could be like, "Oh, how do you say sweater in English?" I could be like shoe, and they're like, "Oh, wow, it's shoe," and stuff like. And so it was easier because I didn't even have to like put a lot of effort, but I was the one that knew English. And now coming to America, I was like, okay, this is the real deal. Like if I mess up, like everybody's gonna notice, and everybody can tell. And it sounds funny, but like it was that idea was like deep down, like in my mind somehow. I couldn't let it go, and that's what made me like really have issues with my speech, I guess. Right now it's a little bit better. I'm getting there, but back then they would tell me something, and it would take me like 15 minutes to like form like sentences and to think what I was going to say. And so yeah, I still don't have anything figured out, but I know like it's all working out so far, and I'm still alive. So far, yeah, we'll see what happens, and I'll let you guys know.
Thanks, Jose. By any chance, are you Brenda? No. Hi, not Brenda. Hello, not Brenda. Everybody who's not Brenda, raise your hand. Okay. I've never even played Brenda, and I've done a lot of plays. No. So that's it for this evening. Do you guys have any questions for anybody? I know it's not really a question and answer sort of venue. Okay, well, yes. Next steps. Are you going to go to California?
Well, for me, I have the idea still of like going back to California because that was the original idea. That's the place I intended to go. And once I graduate, I still don't know exactly what I'm going to do with my life or what I'm going to do. I don't have anything figured out. And I feel the difference of like the Jose back then and the Jose now, it's that I feel like now it's okay, if that makes sense. It's like, I don't know, but it's okay not knowing. Cause you really can't plan a life, and you can't like, see anything coming. Like things happen. Like I knew I was going to come to the United States, but I didn't know like I was going to go to Las Vegas and then in Chicago and then Chicago and then like, so I might go to California. Perhaps I might stay here for a little bit. I don't know. We'll see.
So for me, I think there's a lot of things I have to do to get to medical school. But I think right now, so my plan is to go to medical school afterwards. I might take a year just to so I can work and raise some money so I can afford or somehow afford medical school. But yeah, so that's the plan, is to probably take a gap year, do some volunteer work, and then as well as work, and then take my MCAT hopefully next year and pray that I get a good score. And then attend medical school. I want to be a pediatric surgeon. So we'll see how that goes. And then, yeah, I'll keep you posted.
Cool. I guess like the plan has always been to like go back home and go back to Inglewood and like really invest in my community, and be a part of like the positive change that's there, and just work with the organizers who are there to really like invest in us and move forward. So let y'all know in May how that goes. Cool. Oh, no.
All right, I'd like to thank you all for coming this evening. Tell your friends about the next one when you see the posters. And, do you have a question? November 5th? 30. November 30. So you should all be very, very full by then. And happy, because the Thanksgiving pies will be gone, but the Christmas cookies will be everywhere. All right, thanks again for coming. There's refreshments outside.
Yeah, have
Cookies, many cookies.
Thank you very much.
Soul Stories narratives were developed through a series of storytelling events held on the Dominican University campus throughout the 2017-2018 academic year, with the intention of creating spaces for deep encounters with faith as lived experience wherein student, faculty, staff, and neighbors of the university might encounter the sacred in ourselves and in each other. Soul Stories feature autobiographical narratives of individuals' journeys, how they got to where they are now explicitly in relationship to their faith, understood broadly to include religious, spiritual, and values-based worldviews. The stories are true as remembered and affirmed by the storytellers. You can visit our website to hear additional podcast events, to listen, re-listen, or share the stories you heard at the live events or through the podcast. Explore the Mission and Ministry website for links to additional Soul Stories podcasts. That's it for this episode. We hope you'll join us again for additional live and recorded Soul Stories events. Soul Stories is produced by the Dominican University Office of Mission and Ministry under the direction of Claire Noonan. Better Together Coffee Houses are under the direction of Amy Omi with assistance from Asma Alneel and Armani Brockman. Production support provided by Daniel Martin and Arthur Wolf. Music by Arthur Wolf. This episode was produced with financial support from a grant from the Interfaith Youth Corps.